Mga kabigda, hanggang ngayon, hot na hot pa rin ito hong issue po patungkol po kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Ano po, no? Dahil hanggang ngayon, marami pa rin mga katanungan na hindi ho nasagot. Okay, mga kabida. Unang-una po, yung inilabas po na warrant of arrest ng International Criminal Court, valid po ba yun, mga kabida? No? Pangalawa, yung pag-aresto po kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, illegal po ba yun o legal po ba yun? Ano? Pangatlo, yung procedure, okay, doon ho sa pag-aresto po, mga kabida, okay, in accordance to the room statutes and our local laws here, ano, nasunod po ba yun, mga kabida? Ano po? At yung pang-apat po, mga kabida, may pag-asa pa ba ito hong si dating Pangulong Duterte na makalabas po mula sa kulungan, ano, dyan ho sa International Criminal Court. Yan yung pag-uusapan po natin, ano, dito ho sa aking vlog. But before that, isang magandang umaga sa lahat, mga kabida, at welcome po dito sa aking channel. Eto, magandang legal discussion po ito, mga kabida, ano po, no? Gusto ko pong ibahagi po sa inyo yung magandang talakayan po, ano, sa pagitan po, mga kabida, ni Attorney Jimeno, Attorney Mike Toledo, at of course yung kanila pong guest, no, si former Supreme Court Justice Azcuna, ano po, sa programa po ng The Billionaire News Channel po, mga kabida, ano po, na pinag-usapan po nila, mga kabida, yung mga katanungan na nasabi ko na po kanina, no, okay, lalong-lalo na po, mga kabida, yung paghuli po kay dating Pangulong Duterte, kung legal po ba yun, ano, yung ginamit po ng gobyerno na sundin yung agreement po sa pagitan po ng Pilipinas at ng Interpol, valid po ba yun para i-surrender po itong si dating Pangulong Duterte sa International Criminal Court, considering hindi na po tayo miyembro po, mga kabida, ano po, no? Okay? Now, pakinggan po natin ito, ano? Courtesy po natin ito sa The Billionaire Channel, ano po.
When it comes to the enforcement of an ICC warrant of arrest, what would be the proper procedure? In this case, during the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte,
yes,
were the provisions of the Rome Statute followed?
I believe they were not, because under the Rome Statute, Article 59 requires that after serving the warrant of arrest, the custodial state, in this case the Philippines, should bring the person arrested to a local court, which will then determine whether or not he or she is the person named in the warrant of arrest, whether or not the person arrested was informed of the nature of the charges against him or her, and whether or not his fundamental rights were respected. These are the three issues that a local court must determine before the arrest can culminate in a surrender to the court. That is, however, according to other experts, that is no longer applicable because we are no longer parties to the Treaty of Rome. So the Article 59 procedure is no longer a requirement, which is probably why in the March 17th hearing in the ICC by the pretrial chamber, I observed that the pretrial chamber did exactly what a local court should have done under Article 59.
Which is what?
Which
to
is
identify
to make
the
sure
accused.
that the person arrested is the one named in the warrant, and that the person arrested was informed of charges against him.
In other words,
Okay.
there's due
Yeah.
sort
Yes.
Well,
due process.
unidentified.
Yeah, in a sense, it was
Yes.
a kind of due process under international law.
Yes.
If you follow that provision of 51.
Yes.
But the counter argument against that is the fact that we enacted a statute, 9158, and specifically Section 17, which allows us or allows government, upon making their own determination, that perhaps it is better that the accused in a particular case can be now surrendered to a international organization or to even a country.
Yeah,
The-
I remember that provision is either extradition
Yes.
or voluntary surrender.
Surrender.
So in this case, what happened was surrender.
Surrender. So,
But when you
is there a
surrender,
clash? Is there a clash there?
Yeah,
or-
I'm curious. So, first, just to go back with the Rome Statute, if we had withdrawn but an ICC warrant of arrest is being served pursuant to the Rome Statute, then
Yes.
I'm a bit confused with the contention that the provisions of the Rome Statute will no longer apply in terms of bringing an accused before a competent judicial authority.
Yes, that is true. The Rome Statute will only partially apply to the extent that our residual obligation to cooperate is still valid. But the rest of the provisions will no longer be applicable because we are no longer parties to the Rome Statute. So the warrant of arrest, its validity, and our obligation to honor it continues because of 127. But 59 no longer applies.
Is that
because-
do you agree with that view?
No, my view is that you cannot be selective. If you want to apply the Statute of Rome because you are still obliged, then you apply the whole thing.
Yeah.
So to me, there is a violation. But as I said, the ICC doesn't care if there is a violation as long as it is balanced against the need to prosecute. So they will disregard that. In fact, they cured it already
During
under
the-
the rules.
Yeah.
They have the rules also,
Yeah.
more than 127 sections. Under the rules, they can cure it.
Oh, there is
Yeah,
a curing.
they're
Okay,
allowed
this is
to cure
super
it.
helpful because I haven't read
That's
They're
what
allowed
they
the
do.
rules of the ICC.
Yeah,
So
they have
they
have
a
rules
way
of court.
to cure.
Mm.
So if there's a violation of due process in the either custodial state
Yeah.
or the home state of the accused, the ICC court can cure any
Yes, they can
of
cure.
those violations.
They can cure the violation. That's why they said, "Are you the one named?" And of course says, "Yes." "Were you informed?" "Yes."
Yes.
Session adjourned. Yun lang dalawa. Yun ang dapat dito ginawa eh.
Dapat nasa
Oo,
Pilipinas.
dapat,
Okay.
Just going back to touch on another topic, but related to this, the habeas corpus case is now filed.
That's what exactly what I was going to ask about,
Diba?
which is perfect
Which
because
is-
we have a
yeah.
justice of the Supreme Court.
It's pending in the Supreme Court. There's a habeas corpus filed by the children of President Duterte.
Yes.
There's an argument that it is no longer, it's already moot because he is already there in The Hague. Therefore, what's the point for a writ of habeas corpus? And there's also an argument saying that, number two, well, writ of habeas corpus only applies if a person is illegally taken away, and you have to show to the court why he was taken away and show his body to the court. Now, in this case, they're saying, but he was surrendered validly pursuant to an agreement with the Interpol. And then again, he's now in the ICC. So what is your view on that as far as the habeas corpus cases are concerned?
Okay. First of all, it's not muted, this habeas corpus case, simply because we can no longer return the former president because he's already in the hands of the ICC. So habeas corpus will not lie because it's supposed to be to return the body.
Yes.
But there's also another dimension of habeas corpus, which is the legality of the surrender. And that's not muted. The court can rule on that. On the legality, my opinion is that Section 17 of Republic Act 9851, which provides that in case someone already being investigated by international tribunal, the Philippines may surrender such person. But the last sentence says, pursuant to treaty obligations.
Yes.
Pursuant to.
Yes.
But in this case, since we withdrew, are you saying that the
Correct.
basis could still be
Yeah.
the Rome Statute? What is the analysis
That's
here?
it. So, is there still a treaty or not? If there is no treaty, then you cannot surrender. Because the surrender under Section 17 must be pursuant to treaty obligations. Now, if there is still a treaty, then you have to follow the treaty, which it says Article 59, bring first to the local court. So may violation talaga.
You know, when I was at The Hague, a lot of Filipinos that went all the way to The Hague just to show their support for former President Duterte were asking me, Attorney, may pag-asa bang makabalik si FPRRD sa Pilipinas? And because you're a former justice, Justice Adolf, not just of the Supreme Court, but you're also an expert on international law, you're familiar with the ICC rules. What are the chances of that happening?
Okay, the chances of being released depends really on the court. The ICC had released suspects or arrested persons before, but the experience has not been good. The person who was arrested was a very powerful person, and after he was released, the witnesses against him disappeared. So they
Do you
don't want-
remember what case this was, Justice Adolf?
I don't remember the name. It's an African nation.
So
head
it was
of
an
state.
interim release.
Yeah, it was granted bail because they grant bail. And the witnesses disappeared. Maybe they were afraid. They went into hiding. Na walang witnesses. So they are reluctant to grant interim releases. But maybe for reasons of health, and if the witnesses are secured, maybe that can happen. Yeah.
Do they have any considerations for age or health the way we
Yes, they
have
do.
here in the Philippines? They do that.
They do
The
also,
ICC.
yeah. They take that into account, yes. But then they can take care, maybe better than our hospitals.
Ayun po, napakagandang talakayan po, ano? Yung sinabi po mga kabida ni Justice Azcuna patungkol po doon ho sa nangyari po ano kay dating Pangulong Duterte. There are some points na gusto ko lang pong bigyan po ng diin, ano po. Unang-una, yung validity po ng warrant of arrest, ano, mga kabida, na inisyu po ng International Criminal Court. Di ba, ang contention po ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas, hindi na po tayo miyembro po ng ICC, ano, at wala na pong ugnayan po ang Pilipinas sa International Criminal Court. Ang tanong po dito, bakit po in-honor o bakit po pinagbigyan po ng Pilipinas ang International Criminal Court? Ang sabi po ni Justice Azcuna, dahil ho sa ating obligation po, ano, doon po sa Interpol. Okay? Kumbaga, ginawang valid reason po yung ugnayan po natin sa Interpol. Kaya yun, isinuko po itong si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Dahil po doon mga kabida sa warrant of arrest na inisyu po ng International Court at idinaan po mga kabida sa Interpol. Ano? Okay? Now, yung pangalawang point po doon is yung mga violations, ano, doon po sa procedure at the manner doon ho sa pag-aresto po kay dating Pangulong Duterte. Mismo si Justice Azcuna po mga kabida, meron pong napuna o napansin, ano, na maraming mga paglabag. At isa na doon mga kabida, yung violation po ng Article 59 ng Rome Statute, no? Na kailangang idaan po sa local court yung arrested person, ano, itong si Digong. Ang problema po hindi ho dinaan, hindi ho nasunod po yun mga kabida, ano po. At ito pong napaka-exciting na tanong, ano, kung may pag-asa po ba ito pong si dating Pangulong Duterte na makalabas mula sa kanyang detention cell sa ICC, ano? Ang sagot po dyan ni Justice Azcuna, magdepende po yan sa pasya po ng korte, ano? Kung ang pag-usapan po natin makabida yung interim release, baka po mahihirapan po, ano? Itong si dating Pangulong Duterte considering may hindi ho magandang experience na po itong ICC, ano? When it comes to interim release. Kasi kung naalala po ninyo sa isang vlog ko mga kabida, nabanggit po doon yung experience po ng ICC, dating presidente po ng Kenya, kung saan po ay binigyan po ng interim release, nakalabas po ng kulungan, okay, nakauwi po mga kabida, doon po sa kanilang bansa, ano, ang problema po dito is hindi na po bumalik. At pangalawa, yung mga witnesses po mga kabida against doon ho sa akusado ay bigla hong naglaho. Okay? Kaya siguro, yun po yung dapat pag-isipan po ng ICC, ano, dito ho sa pag-grant po ng interim release kay dating Pangulong Duterte. Pero sa kabilang banda po, may posibilidad po mga kabida na baka pagbigyan because of his age, ano, sa kanya hong edad at sa kanya hong kalusugan. Pero most likely, baka doon lang po sa the Netherlands, ano? Kasi kung pagbabatayan po natin yung isa sa mga requirement po ng ICC, na kailangan po makipag-coordinate po sila doon po sa host country, which is the Philippines, meron na pong statement dyan, ano, ang Pilipinas, ang Marcos administration, na hindi po sila makikipag-cooperate po mga kabida sa International Criminal Court when it comes to application of the interim release. So yun po. So aasahan na lang po natin yung consideration po ng ICC doon po sa kanyang edad at sa kanyang karamdaman, no, ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte para po siya ay mabigyan po ng interim release po mga kabida. So para po sa inyo, ano po yung comment and your opinion? You can comment down. Para po sa mga hindi pa subscribers sa aking channel, please subscribe. Just click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, click all para updated po kayo mga kabida sa aking mga posts. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat at God bless po.